once again to Marcus Gonzalez Network, where we look at the issues and we discuss them as we see them. Right, so today we are looking at the question that was asked: is the delegate system working? Is it working the way it's supposed to? Dr. Vine was asked a question by a young man during an interview, and based upon what the young interviewer was observing, there's much to be desired because some of the delegates seem to be fearful or not wanting to face the media to answer questions uh, about the process, about their opinions, and so on. They were not very forthcoming. The interviewer stated that they ran away, and I don't think that that's the correct way that things should be happening during a general conference session. So what we're going to do today, we're going to take a brief look at what uh, the GC delegate system is, and probably look at some of the flaws, and probably look at some suggestions to improve the system. Right now, from being in Adventism for a long time, you understand that everything is supposed to be done with prayer, supplication, and the seeking of the moving of the Holy Spirit, right? And there are some issues there that I don't think the Holy Spirit may operate in as if those issues were not there. So let's get right in. Yeah. So who are the delegates, right? The delegates basically made up of, well, should be made up of lay persons, right? Well, and in my opinion, it should be lay persons who are in the field working for the Lord, normal persons, right? But the rules are that it's a local and conference, local conferences, divisions, church institutions, people that are employed in the church, general conferences and division employees. And I think because of the employment of these people, that is what could be causing some problems. Because remember, people livelihood and jobs are concerned, and some people have big positions in the church, and sometimes these positions come with high salaries, and then you end up in a quick pro quo situation. But let's go through and we'll discuss that later on in this video. All right, but let us discuss now what the different types of delegates we have and so on. Right, so we have the regular delegates, appointed based on church membership and mission and administrative structure. Delegates at large, appointed by the General Conference, and include key leaders, staff, and individuals with specific roles. Right? So the delegates are chosen. Right? Each union conference or union mission is allocated a number of delegates on the basis of the size of membership. Right? There is a self-supporting conference, mission status supported, etc. The General Conference set a formula. Right? Example: one delegate per certain number of members. This helps ensure global representation while keeping the delegation manageable to around 2,000 to 2,500 persons. All right. So what the delegates do at GC? Elected leader, right? They elect leadership of the General Conference, right? Like the president, the vice president, the treasurer, and the treasurer, right? And departmental directors, right? They vote on proposed changes to the church policy, right? The fundamental beliefs on and to update the church manual if that needs to happen. And yes, yeah, a lot of issues that we need to resolve, right? Discuss global mission strategies, right? So you see the general conference thing is let us go and do mission. That is the whole that the new president is saying, talking about mission, mission, mission. So we have to go there and spread the word in different ways and different strategies and so on. Right? Right? Serving various committees like nominating and constitutional bylaws, church manual, etc. Right? The election process is simplified. Nominating committee, right, is formally From early in the session, my members chosen from among the delegates, just as what they're doing in our local churches, right? Right? The recommendations are brought to the floor on the brought to the floor for the session for a vote by all delegates, right? Voting is especially done electronically and by the cards. You have been seeing these yellow cards and so on, right? So the delegate system is to maintain and ensure that there no one religion, region or group dominates. So it's supposed to, you know, have a more democratic system. Make sure it have representation globally, right? It is formed, right? It is a form of representative democracy rooted in prayer and consensus. Delegates are expected to act in the best interest of the worldwide church and not just a local region. And I may add to that, not just to save their job. Key takeaways, right? Key takeaways. The delegate system ensures that the entire global SDA church has a voice in major decisions. While structured and organized, it also heavily relies on spiritual discernment. That is true, right? Unity in mission and prayer, right? So this is what is supposed to happen, right? However, we have some shortcomings, right? So let's highlight some of the shortcomings quickly. Disproportionate representation, right? Membership versus influence, right? Smaller regions or divisions may receive nearly the same number of delegates as much larger ones due to the fixed minimum quotas, leading to underrepresentation in high membership regions like Africa and Latin America. Overrepresentation of institutions, general conference, that's where the problem coming in. Like Andrews, Loma Linda may send many delegates despite being directly linked to local congregational life, right? Despite not being directly linked to local congregational life, right? The result of that, what happens when that happens is decisions may not always reflect the will of the global grassroots membership, right? So these are the issues we're seeing coming up, right? General conference overweight. The General Conference headquarters and associate departments often have significant influence over the process. That is true. Many GC employees and administrators are at large delegates, which can sway influence toward established leadership. And we have seen that. We have seen that happening. The result risk enforcement of a top-down leadership culture instead of truly representative one, right? So sometimes we're not getting a true representative system because of the fact that the majority of the delegates are coming from the conferences and the division offices and not from the divisional churches, right? Right? The language barrier, I don't think the language barrier is still there because I think they would have solved that issue and they have a lot of interpreters and so on. Limited time to deliberate, I think that is also a problem because there are too many complex, voluminous things to study. And one guy came on an interview there with in a press conference and say he haven't slept. So just imagine you making serious decisions and you have not slept properly, right? So, and then you have political and regional agendas, right? So sometimes we might be polarized one way or the other, right? Um, Lack of youth and lay representation. The system tends to favor administrators, pastors, and institutional leaders, like all them professors and big time doctors and all them in the church, right? And I have a video on that, That is the Laodicean state I'm seeing just raising their head all the time, right? But you're not seeing who really supposed to be there. The lay people, the Bible workers, the people who are selling colporteur books, the people who are going out in the field. You're not seeing too much of that, right? They are too lowly. They are too low down on the pecking order, right? You have to be a jefe. That have to change. So we have to see more youth involvement and more lay representation, right? Like lay pastors, people who are not, I saying it, who don't have no doctorate or no degrees, and who don't have no doctorate in divinity and all of these things. These are the people we need to see going up there more, because sometimes they don't depend on their education to make a decision, depend on the Holy Spirit, and that's what we need accessing inside the GC, so that we'll have God's work being done and not man's work being done. Right? Decisions might not reflect the priorities of everyday Adventists, especially the younger generation. And probably that's why so many young people are leaving the church. Right? Right? So we are seeing that sometimes the young people and women may be left off. Right? But I have a video to make with a lady from Australia that stood up. The one that stood up. Right? Limited accountability. Once the delegates vote and leave, there's often no follow up on how decisions are implemented, especially in local context. Some elected leaders stay in office for decades after decade, raising concerns about lack of rotation and fresh vision. Right? What does that result in? Structural, right? The institutional enrichment can slow. It retards the system when you only have one set of people in leadership position all the time. Right? So as summary of these shortcomings, right? Uneven representation. Consequence, disconnection from the membership. Right? Right? There's a disconnection. When you have uneven representation, you have a disconnection from membership realities. Right? Institutional dominance, right? This reinforces the top-down structure. So everybody voting to keep the little work and stay by the little desk in the conference office, right? They're saying cultural and language barriers, but I think that they would have solved that with the amount of interpreters the church has now, right? Compressed decision time, right? So you have surface level voting. That is a consequence of just 1 week alone to go through all them different tough things that the church need to get regularized, right? Low youth and lay output disconnect from the church body. That is what it is saying here in this report I have here. Once you don't have plenty youths there and lay output, right? Sorry, lay input from the lay people, the people who going out in the field, the people who plant in the churches, the people who work in the vineyards. Once these people are not represented at GC, are not there, you are getting a disconnect from the church body, right? The church body is not actually the people working in the conference. The church body is the people who are actually in the church every Sabbath, and the ones who are going and inviting people and going into the in different places and give out food and helping somebody rebuild a house. These are the people, the lay people who are standing outside the road and preaching, the colporteurs who are selling the books. These are the people that need to be there. I'm not saying the educated people and the ones in the conference office not supposed to be there too, but we need to see more presentation from the youth, and the lay people have to have more input there. Right? Weak accountability, stagnation in leadership, right? Leadership fatigue. That's what we end up with. Right? What could we do to change this whole system here and make it more inclusive for everybody, right? And have it more mission focused, right? We have to rebalance the delegate allocation. Some high membership areas are underrepresented, while GC institutions and leadership are overrepresented, right? So in these big areas like Central America and the African division, you need more people there. In other words, you need more lay people, right? You need more actual floor members in the churches up there, right? And less of the people in the big leadership that are causing the problem, because when these people are there, they are not voting based on the fact that the Holy Spirit is influencing them. They are voting based on the fact that they have to keep a job. Right? Solution: recalculate delegate ratios to better reflect actual church membership. Right? Limit the number of at-large delegates from GC offices and institutions. Ensure a minimum lay representation quota. Example: 50% lay members. With gender and age diversity. They're gonna come for me. Sorry. They will come for me. Oh my gosh. And you know why I said they will come for me? I have observed that pastors don't like to rock the boat, you know. And that is why I cannot be a pastor in the Adventist church. Because I naturally just rock the boat. Increase lay and youth and female representation. Delegates are often older male administrators and pastors, right? Solution: require each union and conference to nominate a mix of laypersons, women, youth under 35, right? Offer scholarships and funding to help lay and youth delegates attend, right? Decentralize and digitize participation. And I said that when I looked at um this thing here. The problem: cost of travel, right? And limit who can attend. The GC sessions feels like a it feels too distant. One like me, I can't go GC. I had to save for a year for the 5 years to go up there. It feels so distant for many people. Just imagine you living in Africa or Australia and you have to come to America every 5 years. Allow hybrid delegate participation, in person plus online with secure voting. I think that is a very good suggestion I'm seeing here. Host regional pre-session dialogue to gather input and prepare delegates. Use digital polling tools to gather broad membership opinions before votes. Right? Term limits and leadership rotation. They will come for me in truth. Some leaders remain in office for decades, limited innovation. And the solution for that: institute term limits for key leadership roles. Example: a max of 2 terms for GC president. Encourage succession planning and development for emerging leaders. Right? More time to discuss and study. Delegate votes on major issues in a short time frame. Right? Publish all proposals 3 to 6 months before the session with study guides and open forum. Build dedicated discussion days at GC session. Less business, more prayer and consensus. Create issue-specific study committees that include lay voices. Right? Stronger accountability and transparency. Right? So sometimes everything has been too disconnected from the local church. After the GC session, require public reporting on how decisions will be implemented. Create a delegate feedback system post session. Right? Allow union conference to hold delegate review sessions with their members. Right? Focus on mission, not politics. Ooh. Debate on theology, not governance, can overshadow the mission. Emphasize prayer and spiritual revival during GC session. Promote mission focused report, testimonies, and cross cultural partnership. reduce the length of drama of elections by streamlining the nomination process. I think they have dealt with that, right? So in summary, as I end off this video here, right? Representation is some of the areas that we're looking at. The reformers are just the ratio, including youth and lay and female voices, right? Participation, you want to, in terms of participation, you do a hybrid system, so you have both in-person and online attendance. Transparency, report back to local churches, more open communication, right? The process, share materials early to allow more discussion. Leadership, term limits, and leadership training. Focus, shift attention back to mission and discipleship, right? So these are just some of the few things we can look at in terms of, is the delegate system working, right? Initially when the church started, it was a grassroots movement. It was a small amount of people, and as the church grew and as we continue to grow, the church has decided to open it up and make it as democratic as possible based on proportional representation, right? So the original intent of the delegate system was to give a voice to local churches and regional groups, right? That was the original intent. But as it grew, it ended up in a situation where most of the delegates are coming out of the the conferences and division offices, and I don't think that is correct. What do you think? What do you think, and what are some of your suggestions? Put it in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what is the best way to go forward. Is anything that I said there in line with your thinking, or do you have your own suggestions? Were you satisfied with the way the things went in terms of the way the delegates and so responded, right? During this conference session in St. Louis? Let me know in the comment section. Please remember, this channel is growing, right? And we want this channel to grow, and eventually, with me growing my community, I'll be introducing more and more things as we go along, right? So like, share, and subscribe. Tell me, give me any comment section. I really enjoy it when you guys comment, and I will do my utmost best to give feedback. Go with God, go with grace, grow in grace. Goodbye for now.